Hello, this is Steve, Dichroic Glassman. It's been quite a while since I've put a newer version or an updated version of a process that I've done in the past on my YouTube channel many times. I know, I just said a whole bunch. What's that mean? We got to put an edge on this big panel I just finished. It's a new concept for me, stepping into a different arena here, as you'll see when this is finished. What does that mean, edging? This is zinc. It's really tough stuff. Look at this. I'm whipping it around like a drumstick, and it's still straight. Versus lead. And this is just a foot. Look at that did. See how soft lead is? Lead's good. Trust me, overall, a whole panel would be incredibly strong by making that lead. This is all copper foil, and that's 34 inch. That's 34 inch, and this is 31. So I want something a little bit stronger than lead in this application because, believe it or not, in a one-dimensional plane, a flat plane, and comparing a three-dimensional plane, here's the funny conundrum. Strongest shape there is in 3 dimension. All things created equal, you could not crush the ball. But in a one-dimensional plane, weakest shape there is. Same circle. Well, you know what I mean. Round, circle. That's the weakest shape. The only place that a big window like this is going to get any strength is at the point, like a basketball is to a court. Wherever that point is. That's it. It's the weakest shape you can make. Well, no, it wouldn't be. It would be an octopus with arms on it. But I mean, as a basic shape, a circle is the weakest. So let's get off that. I need something that's pretty strong. It's pretty heavy. Crystal ball here. It's not a crystal ball, but pretty heavy. What I want to do is take I want to take zinc, and I'm going to bend it around this. Well, easier said than done. If this stuff is so rigid, how am I going to make it round? We're going to use a zinc bender. So I'm going to go through the process. We'll just talk about in this video, kind of reinforce this idea, whys and hows. And then the next video, I'll set the camera up, and we'll go through the process. Because for a large window, remember that round shape, we showed that one of the weakest shapes you can make is the circle, which I love. One of my favorites is the circles, because not a lot of people do them. Just from that standpoint, it's kind of fun. Antagonistic, if you will. But yet, I see so much power and energy and symbology and design and this and that. Especially this one. This has been real interesting for me. Listening to my higher self talk to me. I've never utilized this before. It just arrived. I know that sounds kind of silly, but how in touch to your mind are you? And in design, I can tell you, and emotional EQ, I can tell you that I'm getting the closest I've ever come to with realizing myself. Or being a vessel sensitive to where design aspects come into your mind. This was new for me on this panel. Even when I cut it into this size, is that just trying to capture that ellipse. That's a beautiful panel that can hang that way. So I'm starting to see design. I don't know what's happening. It's not like the bad hit on the head that happened in 2006 where I was in a life-changing car accident. The walk-in happened in 2006 for me. Pretty wild day. Anyway, we need the strength. We need the rigidity for this weak-shaped panel, especially this big. Oh my God, what are we going to do? Lions and tigers and bears, oh my. So we're going to take this zinc bender and we're going to bend this. So I'm going to, on the next video, go through this exercise, or heck, let's just do this now. Let's set up the camera, and then on the next video, I'm going to cut the full size. So here we go. Okay, we have a roller system. This isn't nothing new. Welders use these things all the time, and different kind of fabricators. Metal industry knows that. It's just a roller. But it's kind of fun how it works. And basically, what you're doing is you got two fixed rollers here that are going to stay here permanently. They're fixed to the block. This one's adjustable through a handle. It'll move in or out, and you crank it and turn it. So let's see where we're at on this. I'm going to open it up. What does that mean by open it up? Just this. See? There's no resistance. You could buy these things anywhere. They're called zinc benders, and it's not like there's a particular name to it. It's the only design I've ever seen. It's called a cane bender. Take that back. Cane bender. Cascade. Yeah, Cascade Lead Company. It's the only one I've ever seen. So let's crank. What we're going to do is we're going to crank this. I'm going to have to move my camera back out here. Okay. And let's get it in a little bit closer and tighter. Well, by doing that, I'm going to have to... Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn that. Very little resistance. Eventually, this short zinc is going to start curving. And it's going to hit the camera leg of the tripod. It's already starting to curve. I'll turn the crank a little bit more. And do it as I go. See where my handle is at? Now I'm going a little bit over. Okay, as my turn, my radius, it's bending it nice and seemingly naturally. Of course, it's not natural that the lead came or the zinc came straight. So let's move my camera to where it's more adaptable. There. Okay, so yeah, you can see my hand. So the turn is getting much more radical. In fact, as I look at it and gauge it over my panel, I determine if I need to relax it by backing it out or doing more. Now this arc will I'll back the camera up so that you can get a feel for what I'm doing here. I just want to show you the mechanics of what this does, and then we'll arrive when I can back that camera off here in a second. Okay, I'll take one more pass and then I'll back the camera up. Just one more. Ooh, that's too radical. You guys, for the audience, were supposed to tell me that the handle fell. Okay, let's stop with the camera, with the passes, and let's look what we've accomplished. We've got a radius here because this is 31-inch diameter. So here's what's happened. I've got that curve this far. You can see it's still out there. Now, zinc doesn't come in pieces this short, folks. It comes in 6-foot lengths. There we go. That's 6 foot. Look how strong that stuff is. That's what you want. And when you can, use zinc over lead. Especially in a square rectangle window, it's much stronger. And it has its different properties. I'm sure a lot of lead people use zinc just for the edges. And then you've got zinc pieces. The whole panel is zinc. Really strong stuff if you haven't used it before. I only use it in my borders. Every single straight window, that panel down there, zinc, 3/8. It's called 3/8 U. In this case, it's also called a U. You see what its shape looking like? So, okay. So you've seen what the radius is. Obviously I got another pass, but it's much more interesting when you have 6 feet of this, you're trying to create the circle. So it's a little bit of a conundrum that we'll be getting into. The next video, I'm going to do the whole length. Also, as you spread this, for you newbies that have never had one of these zinc benders, and even for the people that have the zinc bender and haven't used it much, remember, as it creates this turn, it's starting to open it up. Now some people can panic, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? You can squeeze it down by hand, as I'm doing right here, which is really time consuming, or you can lay it down and take an item. I'm laying it on my window. I certainly wouldn't do it this way. So let's take the camera over here. And what you can do is just take a metal item, like pliers, and a little bit, iron it down. Don't be afraid to bring that zinc right back to having that nice channel, narrow channel to accommodate your glass. You want to keep this zinc as closed as possible so that it really snugly fits your glass. Almost like clips on. You're not going to get quite that because the channel's not going to allow it. but you're going to get that little line out there. You're going to get it totally back to back. You're going to be able to accomplish that by pressing down the piece when you're done. Just giving you a heads up. Also, my trademark is that when I solder a panel, I always leave a solder ball right to the edge. This is my trademark. Every single window. Because holding the camera in one hand, no, holding the iron in one hand and my solder, or my flux brush, I don't have time to go back and this and that. I'd bring my, put a piece of flux on, or take my flux brush and apply my flux from here to here, and then I just take that solder ball and drag it right there. I'm done. All the way around the panel. It's really easy when you do it and you think that way. It's a natural default method for me now, just to put that solder ball on the edge. I mean, I've done that for 1,000 more panels, so it's just, you know, I do it on every single window, whether their window's round or rectangle or anything in between. It just makes it easier. Whatever I can do to get to the end more consistently or smoother through each of the transitions. I mean, obviously foiling is different than soldering, different than polishing, different than putting the zinc on. Each step has its own things to look at. This panel turned out really beautiful. You're going to see it in two different ways. This panel was not made to hang in a window. We'll talk about that a little bit more as the video series continues. Anyway, introduction to my zinc edging. The next video, we'll bend the whole thing. Thanks for watching.